Hey guys, welcome back to News to Science, where we discuss comics, movies, games, and more. And today's video is going to be quite simple, just talking about Marvel Spider-Man 2's actual rating. It was actually confirmed from the ESRB that Marvel Spider-Man 2 will be rated T for teen. No surprise there. Anyways, we'll get into the details. Before I do that, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and click on the bell notification so y'all don't miss anything. And as always, follow me on my social media, which you can find links to down in the description box below. And also join my Discord. The invitation link to that is in the description box below. So let's get right into it. This is coming from comicbook.com, and Marvel Spider-Man 2 has officially confirmed its actual rating. So it's been rated by the ESRB, of course. That's the company that rates all video games before they hit the market. Marvel Spider-Man 2 is one of the most anticipated games of 2023 and probably one of the most anticipated PS5 games to date. In 2018, Insomniac Games released its version of Spider-Man on PS4, and it became an immediate Game of the Year contender. While there had been good Spider-Man games prior to this, the character's gaming outings had a major fall from grace courtesy of lackluster releases spawned by Activision. You probably don't know this about me, but I don't really like Activision. I'm not a fan of them. I just don't like the way they are. I don't like their method of thinking and the way they make games, and especially ever since like the scandal that dropped with like the way people have been treated in that company and so on and so forth. It's a huge story. It's a big debacle. Definitely look it up, Google it whenever you get a chance, but I just don't like them anymore. And I actually did feel that way that Spider-Man games, after like the original ones that came out in the early PlayStation 2 days and stuff like that, they did fall from grace and the quality just wasn't there anymore. And thank goodness that Insomniac Games came to save the day, or really save Spider-Man from falling from grace. So now, after several years of waiting, Marvel Spider-Man 2 is finally going to give fans a new version of Venom, along with a number of other things. With Marvel Spider-Man 2 introducing the symbiote Venom and Kraven, some folks, like parents, may be a bit concerned that this game could be a bit more mature than the last one. Marvel Spider-Man had some pretty intense sequences in the last game, such as terrorist attacks that saw civilians being killed in broad daylight with no remorse. The official rating label notes that the game will feature blood, drug references, mild language, and violence. You can get an idea of some of the content that landed in the game, its rating courtesy of the ESRB below. Also, just to actually note real quick as a reminder, and I've mentioned this before, the first Marvel Spider-Man game, especially in the DLC actually showed a little bit more intensive, like mature sequences in that DLC. And I thought it was just me, but like I feel like the violence and the drug references and everything like that was dialed up a little bit. And I'm thinking like this is actually getting close to almost a mature rating, but I don't think we'll ever see the day that Spider-Man will hit a mature rating, honestly, and that's just my opinion. But who knows? I could be wrong. I mean, we do have a mature Batman game, right? So this is an action game in which players assume the roles of Peter Parker and Miles Morales as Spider-Man as they attempt to save New York City from a new threat, reads the description. So from a third-person perspective, players fight crime, swing around buildings, and engage in melee-style combat with enemies. Characters mostly punch, kick, and throw each other during fights. Several characters can use special symbiote-based and electricity-based attacks on enemies. Some enemies use pistols and or machine guns during combat. Gunshots sometimes result in small splashes of blood. Cutscenes depict further instances of violence, blood, a character choked to death, a dead body turned over, blood drops on a leaf. In some crime missions, characters can be seen trading unnamed drugs for weapons. Drug packages can be seen in a car trunk. The words prick and ass appear in the game, and we've actually seen that in the first Spider-Man games. And again, back to like the DLC, the word shit was actually said in the first Marvel Spider-Man in the DLC, and some other words like ass too have been referenced in the first Spider-Man main story campaign. Also, yeah, drug references were clearly obvious, and like they were very visible in the back of the trunks when you're stopping like a drug trade or a robbery or something like that. There are drugs like packed up. It didn't specify what kind of drugs, but you can probably use your imagination, and you can just pretty much imagine what kind of drugs was being packed in those trunks. And of course, whenever enemies were inflicted or like they were shot with bullets, you did see a little blood splatter just coming out of them whenever they got hit with bullets. So yeah, all that stuff is pretty consistent. It's in line with like the previous Marvel Spider-Man games, and I'm not really all that surprised. While this may not come as a surprise to most people, Batman Arkham Knight shocked fans when it was rated M for mature. Prior games in that series had been rated T, but the final game in the trilogy pushed things a bit too far and landed it a more mature rating. X-Men Origins Wolverine also famously got an M rating, but it was far more intentional due to all of the blood and gore. Marvel Spider-Man 2 will release exclusively on PS5 on October 20th. And are you all a bit surprised that it's going to remain T? No, well, me, like I said before, I'm not that surprised. But, I mean, I don't know if Marvel Spider-Man will get a mature rating. Perhaps if Insomniac Games plans on making this an actual trilogy and closing this Marvel Spider-Man saga, they might end it with actually Spider-Man being a mature game, at least on the third one. But I'm actually thinking way too far ahead, so we'll probably have to just wait and see for like at least another 5-6 years or so before we get the next Spider-Man game. But anyway, I'm really excited overall. What are your thoughts? Marvel Spider-Man 2 rated T for teen? Not surprising there. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and click on the bell notifications so you don't miss anything. And as always, I will see you all in the next comic panel.